Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers, sisters, viewers, friends of Ikra TV. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm your host Iqbal Bana. As I keep saying to you every week, I come into your homes, invading your privacy, but in the process, I hope I'm bringing to you issues that affect our community and other communities as well, and issues which are dear to everyone, but particularly within our Muslim community as well, that affects us on a day-to-day basis. Last week we talked about issues around Palestine and some of the challenges that are happening over there and what we as a Muslim community can do and should be doing about it. Today I want to talk to you about something that's very rarely talked about in our community, but everybody knows that it is happening in our communities and all communities, not just the Asian, South Asian communities, but all communities. But within our community, I don't think we've dealt with it in the way that some people would like this issue to be dealt with, and that is domestic violence. We know that domestic violence affects every community. We've seen reports, multiple reports, and we've seen some really tragic events take place, and one of which took place within Bradford itself. As you remember, Habibur Masoom stabbed his wife or ex-wife or separated with whom he was separated, Kulsum Akhtar, in Bradford a few months ago, stabbing her over 25 times. And she was going around her normal day-to-day business with her little child in a pushchair, and he brutally murdered her. And obviously he has gone to prison now, and he deserves the punishment, maybe even more than that. But domestic violence takes many, many people's lives. We know for a fact that 80% of the victims of domestic violence are mainly women. And majority of the women who are the victims of domestic violence are women who have a relationship with the perpetrator, the person who is attacking them. And we've seen this happen over and over again, not just in our community, but as I say, all communities. And we've seen that many initiatives have been developed over the years to try and address this issue. And we know that this government has taken this issue and they are looking at specifically targeting prevention on violence against women and girls. And they are looking at developing strategies across the whole of the country, particularly working with communities and the local police forces to try and address this issue. So today I have two very eminent people, one of whom is not a stranger to you. You will have seen her not too many weeks ago. She was on my program. She is Sadia Mustaq, I'm getting tongue-tied, from the Muslim Women's Council. She was here for the Bradford Muslim Women's Council. She was here with her colleague Bana Gora, and they talked about the trip to Palestine. But I'm really, really deeply grateful for Iram Khan, who is joining me today for the first time. Iram has been working around domestic violence in the community and with the Muslim Women's Council over the last year or so. And she has gained a lot of experience because she's been doing this for over 15 years, she tells me. But she was working with the council, the Muslim Women's Council, over the last year or two. And she has got lots of knowledge and experience in this particular issue. So both of you, particularly Iram, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, welcome. And Sadia, welcome back again. You're becoming a regular here, mashallah.
Thank you very much.
Inshallah, one day you might be taking over my role as well. So, Iram, thank you for coming. And as usual, as you know, this is supposed to be and is an interactive program. If anyone would like to share your thoughts with us about, your experience of domestic violence, or somebody who may have gone through this unfortunate issue or have been the beneficiary of something that has happened to you, because there's a number of agencies out there to try and help people, victims of domestic violence. Because remember, it's not just women who are the victims sometimes, even men are victims of domestic violence as well. And particularly children in these situations where there are children involved, the impact of this domestic violence can be absolutely horrendous and have long-term effect on children as well. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. Iram, obviously, give us a bit of background about yourself. You're a Bradford woman.
Yes.
You live in Bradford.
Yes.
And you work around domestic violence. So can you just give me a little bit of flavour of,
Of course,
where
yes.
you're working with?
So I've been in the domestic violence field for around 15 years now.
Right.
So I came in as an IDFA, which is an independent domestic violence advocate.
Right.
And I covered sort of Bradford and Keighley.
Mm-hmm.
And that was basically more frontline work, supporting women from the BME backgrounds,
All right.
from sort of ethnic minorities, because I have an additional language.
Mm-hmm.
Because of their additional needs, it was easy to sort of support them understanding their cultural backgrounds and their sort of marginalised issues that they have. I'm from the South Asian background myself, so it was easy to understand what their issues might be and where the sort of
so the language was an added,
from.
the language, the ability to speak the language was an added bonus.
Added bonus, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And did that make the person who presenting themselves
Of course,
much more comfortable?
Of course, because when you're presenting or supporting somebody in their own language rather than having an interpreter, it feels the communication levels are a lot better, and that support then feels very much sort of more intense rather than having to speak through an interpreter.
Right. Sadia, I mean, obviously the Bradford Muslim Women's Council is an organisation, that does a lot of work around lots of issues. How did they get involved in this issue about domestic violence? And is that one of your key sort of objectives that you work towards?
With the Muslim Women's Council, our mission is to empower women for the benefit of society. So we do get a lot of calls. We get a lot of people being referred to us through our different services, through our activities, through our sessions that have experienced domestic violence and are looking for support. So it's not necessarily support that we provide ourselves, but it is something that we can signpost people to. We can provide specific support such as food support. There are a lot of women that were struggling that had suffered domestic violence, especially through COVID. So those are the kind of links that we have with domestic violence.
So they come to you first because they don't know where to go, maybe?
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Most of the time it might be a case that they've Googled, for example, Muslim Women's Services in Bradford or in Yorkshire. Our name comes up and they have a quick look at the website, or they haven't got any idea what we do, so they will call us and ask us what kind of support we can provide.
And what type of cases do you get? I mean, we know that sometimes women have to leave their own home for their own safety. So, I mean, what happens if somebody comes to you and says, I'm fearful of my life? Because we know that the majority of women who have lost their lives do so at the hands of somebody they know, quite well. I mean, you have more experience about that, won't you?
Yes. So there's different stages when a woman actually can see that she's going through a tough time, because sometimes it's the recognising that abuse, whether it's abuse that's taking place, and that can happen. That can take a long time for a woman to actually admit that this is happening to me, or just sort of get to grips with and think that I don't want to do this anymore. Once the woman decides that, either, depending on the situation, it could be a 999 call, or it could be a service that she calls and then get signposted. I mean, one of the main services that we have in Bradford is Staying Put, which is the Survive and Thrive. So that's the main commission services across the Bradford
district. Is that a public organisation, or is it a charity?
It's a charity.
Oh, it's a charity,
and it's commissioned throughout Bradford, so that covers the whole of Bradford district.
Right.
And it's called the Survive and Thrive Consortium. So if they're in crisis, if a woman's in crisis, they will then provide a refuge or ensure that the woman, the safety aspect of the woman is sort of cleared up first. And that could include maybe getting sort of legal orders if there's non-molestation orders that need to be taken out, injunctions against.
So when
you
say molestation order, can you explain what that means, please?
Yeah, so that basically means it's like an injunction. So if you have a perpetrator that's continuously harassing you, maybe by phone or by just
physically
trying. Yeah, so you can apply to court for a non-molestation order, which will then act as a barrier or a preventative, if you like, measure to.
So this is to say that this person should not approach the victim, within a mile or something like that.
Yes.
Or half.
So it's a radius. So it might be that you are not to call this person, you are not to contact this person. If there's children involved, then you may have to go down the route of sort of the contact arrangements order. Is there going to be any child contact? It just depends on the severity and of the issue and how violent.
And it depends how many people there are in the family structure, I presume, as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if there's no children, then it's a very different aspect. Okay. I mean, we know that Kulsum Akhtar was a refuge from somewhere else, but he managed to trace her and then approach her and unfortunately killed her. So this is one of those very serious issues that took place here. So, I mean, we know, and we're going to be going for a break very soon. But the issues of refuge is also one of those big challenges that the public sector faces. Now, we know for a fact that there's not enough refuge places throughout the country, but I'm not sure what it's like in this area. So
no, we have some very, very good support services in Bradford, across Bradford, yeah, and I do think there's a lack of awareness, and we would like to use this platform to sort of raise awareness around that, and we encourage people to seek support.
Okay, that's fine. I hope you found, I know this is a very short interlude here, but we have to go for a break, and then inshallah we'll continue after the break. I hope you found the subject interesting. Think about what we've been talking about, and if you are yourself a victim or have been a victim or are aware of a victim or want to know more about where to get support, please phone in 01274 214 299. As I keep saying to you every time, go and have a break, have a tea, coffee, faluda, whatever it is that you enjoy. Inshallah, I will see you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.